Yes, now blessed now, don't forget the rest now. Des, King of the Pit TV signing in once again, live and large as always, at Des Rocksteady on Instagram. Let's talk music. I put out the first Radiohead video as of today. Obviously it'll be a bit later till you see this video, but it was the first tune off of Kid A. And it garnered a little bit of attention, a few eyes and whatnot, so there's obviously a great space out there for fans of Radiohead who are interested in hearing a response to the music they love. So without further ado, I'm going to get onto another record. As always, I've never heard any of this record before. My apologies. Aside from one track in particular, but it was years back, and I believe that was Karma Police. Alright, other than that, completely unfamiliar with it all. I am going to listen to Karma Police purely as it's been so long, so I'm still going to judge that as a reaction. Maybe not a first time, but you know where I'm coming from. Without further ado, we're going to get straight stuck into this. This is OK Computer. This first track is entitled Airbag. Let's see what I'm saying, people. The drums, the tambourine, and the chord progression is a little bit Oasis-y, to be fair with you. Of course, we got, is it Tom, the frontman? We've got him coming in with his like melancholy vocal line. I'm enjoying this tune so far. So Kid A was very electronic as far as the instrumental goes, very synth heavy. And from what I'm aware, this band has a particular theme on each record, or at least a different approach to it as far as the instrumental goes. So far so good, and I'm hoping that we keep the full band jamming. So yeah, let's get straight back into it, people. I'm enjoying this so far. As I said, a little bit Oasis-y, that chord progression and the drums and the tambourine and so forth, which I'm a big fan of. When was this record put out? 2000s or 90s? So if I was to judge by this initial track, I would assume if it followed the same context as Kid A, as where the introduction sort of emphasised and gave you an idea of what was to come, this is going to be quite a guitar-driven record, which I'm more than happy to go along with, really. Bassist is just giving it space to breathe here. Just chiming in at the right moment. Ooh. I'm gonna go back there. In particular, that little bass line in that breakdown section, it was really tasty. I'm sure it wasn't much different from what the bassist was sort of jamming throughout the actual full instrumental, but it really popped on that particular moment. Ooh. Badoo, badoo, boo. The bassist is really groovy on this too. Got me focusing on that bass line in particular. It was all pulled back in certain sections, and then the bass line just starts grooving along and singing, and other sections such as now just very busy at this moment. A little experimental part. Still grooving. That tambourine just jamming. The drummer were jamming out, and the drums just held this incredible groove throughout the entire tune, but I can't help but think the production value is a blessing and a curse, purely as them drums sounded a little bit sampled, and as a drummer I would like my drumming to sound a little more organic personally, so I'm a little bit lost between two worlds as far as what I think about the beat and the drums there. Sounded brilliant, don't get me wrong, but you know, as far as modernizing the sound of the record, sometimes I think we can go a bit too far. But regardless, I enjoyed that a lot. Radiohead are good from what I've heard so far, because they sort of teeter the line between being, you know, experimental and a bit arty-farty, and still withholding that high level of songwriting and penmanship and creating, you know, generally appealing tunes in their records, or at least so far I've experienced that. I've only listened to Kid A, remember, so that was Airbag. Let's move on to the next one, okay? So there's going to be an advertisement, as always.
Is HelloFresh worth the price?
I've seen her
Absolutely.
face now more than
In the beginning, I
I've
was
seen
doubtful too.
most of my
Until I
friends'
realised
faces.
I was actually...
She always pops up. Right. So this one's entitled Paranoid Android, yeah? Des, King of the Pit TV, you know who it is. Let's get straight into it. That's at Des Rocksteady on Instagram. Let's talk music. 6 minutes long. Second tune of the record, OK Computer. We're listening to the entire one. I like the name of this track. Paranoid Android. Let's go. 8.2 million views on this. Guitars driving away again. Nice and clean. this might be a little controversial depending on how much you are really into Radiohead, but the frontman, Tom York, correct me if I'm wrong, he sounds a little... Now, I've not listened to this band aside from their hit, right? Is it Wheatus, Teenage Dirtbag? Yeah, he sounds a little bit like the frontman of Wheatus. A little bit. With that sort of whiny, higher register vocal with the potential of going to quite a high register in that falsetto vocal. Does Tom just sing or does he play an instrument as well? Because if he just holds the microphone, I'd be interested in know how he actually acts up there on stage, what his presence is like, because he sounds like a proper mangy git. So it'd be interesting to know if he just stands there or if he has a bit of a move or what's going on. Ooh! We're gonna go back on that. That's groovy as hell. That's also heavy. Like, when we talk about heavy music, most of it you need a guitar drop tune to bloody B standard and you need to chug away, but that's heavy. That's a heavy riff and instrumental. Ooh! That percussion in the background is clinkering away. That little vocal in the background. This might be the best bit I've heard from Radiohead so far. That groove is second to none. Little bit of synth coming in, a few keys. Unless it's a funky guitar effect. Ooh. We'll go back on that solo. I just sent a text to one of my mates. I work with a media company, right? And they're proper into their music. We record music videos and stuff. And I told him last time I had a quick catch up with him that I listened to Radiohead full album. And they go, well, what record? Kid A. And I said the first track in particular I thought was brilliant. And we spoke about what was that proper miserable tune, How to Disappear Completely. These lot are big fans of Radiohead, seen them live a few times and all that, so I've actually got a little crew I can talk to in regards to this experience I'm having. I just sent a text, telling them Paranoid Android is groovy as hell. This has been a rock record so far, rock and roll, man. This is more my taste than Kid A was. Need to smoke a bifter to this one. Where are we going? One and two and three and four and... Oops. The guitars are proper rock guitars on that riff. Just the clunking of the muted strings. You know, that guitar riff just grooving along. That's not just a guitar riff where, you know, the guitarist is just playing a little bit of guitar. This guitar, it grooving along. It got the rhythm. The fretting hand is doing its thing, creating a brilliant heavy duty riff. Whereas that strumming hand is just creating the magic, and that strumming hand is what's separating this riff and this guitarist from someone who can write a riff to someone who can play a bloody riff. Like, this is a real involved bit of guitar work. Really like this riff. I would go as far as saying a little bit reckless with the playing, because this isn't precise picking. Don't get me wrong, every note is spot on, but there's just aggression with it. Just an overt sort of, just rock and roll, man. Proper good. That was Paranoid Android. That was brilliant. I thought, you know, if you've been following some of these videos I do, you know, I'm into punk music. So when it comes to longer songs, even looking at how long a song is can become a drain for me. But that 6:20 went by with ease. The bridged section wasn't my favourite because it took me away from that groove. That riff, wow. I'd make this song 3 minutes straight and just riff on that for a minute, because that was nice. Really enjoyed that. Let's move on to the next track. This record so far is pleasing me more than Kid A did, and I enjoyed Kid A, but that was a different vibe. That was a different energy. That was, you know, I needed to appreciate the music as opposed to tapping along. You know what I mean? Here I can just riff out, groove. So far so good. This next one's entitled Subterranean Homesick Alien. So let's get this out of the way. Monday. Much smoother with which, speaking of the media team I work with, they've started utilising that Monday. I'm not sponsored by them, by the way, but it seems pretty cool. I've had a good look at it. You know what I mean? If you run a business and all that, it's just like a smart planner, innit? So, you're listening to Des at King of the Pit TV. Instagram's at Des Rocksteady. Let's talk music. We're listening to the entire record, OK Computer. So far, it's been an enjoyable experience. This track is track 3, Subterranean Homesick Alien. To be fair, man, we might be on a downer after hearing Paranoid Android, because that was a banger. So, Subterranean Homesick Alien. I don't know if that's a play on words to Bob Dylan's number, which was entitled Subterranean Homesick Blues. Let's get straight into it. So far, we've got a theme. We've got very guitar-driven music. Let's see if it changes here or if we continue with the riffing and the playing and the broken chords. Back with the guitars. So far, there's been no filler. On all of these tunes, the drummer has been really groovy. He's not just been playing straight with it. He's just always had this nice groove to all of his playing. Really nice. I don't know what would you call it? Swing? I don't know.
Aliens hover, making home movies for the folks back home. All these weird creatures who lock up their spirits, drill holes themselves, and live for the secrets.
Oh. What's he saying? I'm tired. Wow, it gave me shivers. This is a great song. This is a great song. So far, what I've heard of this record, it's an incredible showcase of the songwriting capabilities of Radiohead. This is really good. The build up and the tension to that just powerhouse of a, I assume that's the chorus section. I think we might return to that once again. Hopefully 3 times, you never know. Let's get straight back into it. That was really good.
I wish that they swooped down in a country lane late at night when I'm driving. Take me on board their beautiful ship. Show me the world as I love to see.
I tell all my friends, but they won't believe me. Something, I've lost it completely. They'd think I've lost it completely, or something along the lines of that. I thought the word was actually going to resolve in crazy. Great songwriting. Here we go, we're building up. A lot of layering on this record, a lot of subtle layers. Here we go. That bit, do 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 do. What does that sound like? It reminds me of something. I don't want to say Led Zeppelin, but it very well could be. Do 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 do. Tell me what that sounds like. That little guitar run there reminds me of another band. Do do do. I think it might be Zeppelin. I think it might be Zeppelin on the record Physical Graffiti, but I don't know which tune. Really good. That was brilliant. That was brilliant. I said it's going to be a surprise if it comes anywhere close to Paranoid Android. I thought this was going to be a downer. I thought I was going to come from a complete, you know what I mean, steep drop from that last tune, because Paranoid Android were groove central. I really like that. That was brilliant. I am loving this record. This is a brilliant record. I'm starting to identify why people love Radiohead and why Radiohead has such an incredible following. It's well deserved. This was a great. This was great. I'm really enjoying this. So I'm gonna sign out for one quick second, and I'm gonna be back with the rest. So one moment. Yes, now people, I'm back. So we're listening to the OK Computer full record for the first time ever by Radiohead. This one's entitled Exit Music for a Film. Never heard it before in my life. The last tune was brilliant. So far, every song I've heard on this record has been one thumb up, alright. This has got 6.6 million views as opposed to the 2 million on the last track, and the 2 million on the last track represented a bloody great song, so I've got high hopes. Let's jump straight into it at Des Rocksteady on Instagram. You know how it goes. Let's talk music. Exit Music for a Film. OK Computer, the full record. Might be a bit singer-songwriter, this one.
Wake from your sleep.
That vocal is very powerful compared to the guitar.
You're drying up your tears today.
One comment is Radiohead, which I learnt this after listening to Kid A. Radiohead definitely writes songs for heartbroken teenage boys and potentially girls, but I can only speak in regards to myself. Like, if I was into Radiohead back in the day and I broke up from my first girlfriend, dude, a few songs that would tickle my pickle during that period, I'll tell you that.
Today we escape. Pack and get dressed before your father hears us.
You hear every tiny little nuance of the vocal in this song, which is probably why we've got 6.6 million views. It creates an incredible connection, as if he's singing to you in your ear at a never so close sort of proximity. You just hear you even hear the breaths, you know, they've not been edited out. You hear the little croaks of the lower end of the voice and so forth. Great clarity.
Oh, hell breaks loose.
I would like to hear it develop though, because as far as it being a great song, I'm a singer-songwriter. I hear this a lot, this sort of music. Ooh. A heavenly choral synth there. Very spooky, to be honest.
Keep breathing. I can't do this alone. Sing us a song. A song
Quite a harsh noise playing in the background there. I wonder what that is.
to keep us warm.
All of these bits coming in and out as he continues just singing this song in this very steady way. Just sort of creates an aura of the world just spinning around and everything's moving, whereas he and us are in our own special place, living our own life, going along, doing our own things.
such a chill.
Here we go. Ooh. That's a filthy fuzz. Sounds like a doom band.
That you choke, that you choke.
Are there any like upbeat, positive, lyrically Radiohead songs? Because I'd be very interested to hear this fella singing that means. Because I don't know right now if everything he sings just sounds miserable down to the tone of his voice and just sort of, you know, his singing style. But that was brilliant. That was exit music for a film. The developments in that piece was pretty good, pretty good. So what Radiohead seem to be doing is writing these relatively basic, structured, perfect pop songs and adding their own flair and touch and tones and effects onto things, which creates this otherworldly sort of uncanny valley-esque, you know, context and soundscape. So that was really good. That was really good. Let's move on to the next track, people. Let's see what we got. So this one's entitled Let Down. Airbnb. I've never sorted out an Airbnb before, have you? Is that where you can just stop at other people's houses and stuff? Pay them a couple of quid for it? I'm surprised it's legal, to be honest. Well, of course it's legal. There'll be some sort of tax, won't there? Des, King of the Pit TV, at Des Rocksteady on Instagram. This tune is entitled Let Down. We're listening to OK Computer, the entire record from start to finish. Haven't heard it. Let's hear it. Let's go. Some twinkly guitars to get us going. I know the last track was entitled, what was it called? Exit music for a film. But I can see this being a top contender for a film soundtrack even more so. This is definitely like a maungy, romantic film where everything's just gone to crap for the main person and they're sort of just reconsidering things right now. Have you ever listened to Radiohead when you've been sad? Leave a comment down below. This band are really good at dynamic and volume swells, establishing the ever so slightest tension and the ever so slightest of an incline towards the next section of the song. Really good at that. Keeps you holding on to what's coming next. Something cool about this band I just considered whilst looking at the artwork for this record is they have a great sense of artistry. I mean, some may consider it a little bit, a little bit pseudo, arty-farty sort of stuff. But what we've got on this cover here is obviously the artwork, but we've got a few just sort of external bits. Like, I don't know what these squiggles are. We've got the X, we've got Lost Child, potentially lost style and so on and so forth, and these are obviously got some sort of meaning. I would hope that it's not just being thrown on there for fluff, you know what I mean? But like Kanye West, as an example, they're not afraid to experiment and to create art as opposed to just doing the boxed in structure of what music is supposed to be packaged as and sold as, and how it's supposed to be produced as far as what the general societal, sort of guidelines give you, which as a songwriter can be quite tough because you want to write that perfect song right, but in doing so, you lose the artistry and the experimental sort of childlike aspect of being a creative individual and being part of a creative unit. So it's really interesting how they approach and apply these artistic methods and just ideas, and like a painter, just allow the music to be the canvas and allow themselves to express whatever ideas they have in just these very different means, which may or may not sort of engage with the listener, but it doesn't necessarily matter because it's an emphasized depth and meaning as opposed to industry singer singing industry songs with an industry producer. It's a lot different, and obviously it's more mature and conscious than experimental artists who's in his bedroom, who doesn't really know what he's doing and he's just trying to force something. This music doesn't seem forced, it seems natural, and it's a natural expression of artistry, and that's really brilliant. That's really brilliant, and you don't see it often, and I'm starting to understand why this band is brilliant and why people think they're brilliant, such as Tool. It took me a moment to get into Tool, but as I've started to delve in, I'm starting to see parallels between the different paths of artistic expression these bands sort of go down, and it's brilliant. As an artist myself, it's enlightening. It's a great way to perceive things. Oh, I put a quick message out saying really enjoying Radiohead, great band, and a few people have responded to me saying one of my favourite bands, what you're listening to, and so on and so forth. What a great community and a lot of what a cult following. I can see a lot of friendships being made over this band. Wow. Wow. Brilliant. Let Down, that was called. That was a good song. That was a good song. It wasn't my favourite, but we've had a lot of good thoughts and a lot of interesting. We've conceived a lot of interesting train of thought throughout that tune. So by default, I can't hate on that. That was brilliant. So that was Let Down. Let's move on to the next tune, people. All right. So Karma Police. I've heard this one years back. Years
Hi,
back.
I'm Mikko, co-founder with these friends of Kyrö Distillery, Finland. That's right, Finland.
You know who it is? There's at King of the Pit TV. Karma Police is on next. We're listening to OK Computer, the entire record from start to finish. This is the only one on the record I have heard before, okay? But I heard this years back. This is when I had an iPod Nano and I was going back and forth from high school and downloading music off a LimeWire, alright? So I only had this as a single tune I downloaded, single MP3. I don't remember it too much. I remember Karma Police arrest this man. I believe that's the lyric. We're going to jump into it. We're going to listen to it a little deeper than I have experienced in the past. I know it's an half-decent tune, and the views represent, so far out of the 6 songs I've listened to, this is the most popular as of so far, beating Paranoid Android by 2 million views. So without further ado, Karma Police. At me on Instagram, that's Des Rocksteady. Peace. That twinkly guitar then, and the acoustic guitar reminds me of a couple of tunes actually. There's I Would Like to Leave This City, Oasis, written by Noel Gallagher. The tune is Running here I go, Half the World Away, with the twinkling pianos on there. Reminds me a bit like that. And through this record I've heard a little bit of Oasis through the acoustic guitar, pop chord progressions, the open chords for the most part, maybe bars, but you know what I mean, the simplistic chords, and how the drummer has been playing. I heard a lot about that. Alongside that, that piano reminds me a little of the who was it? The fellow sung Do You Think I'm Sexy? Waddy Barnett, the British fella, but the song got covered, Handbags and Glad Rags, by who covered that song? Stereophonics. Reminds me a little bit of that as well. Not that it makes much sense, but we're here to talk, right? We're here to express these feelings and these thoughts this music provokes. The piano really takes the forefront of this song as far as the instrumental goes. I wonder who it is. Does the frontman play piano? Is this the work of the singer, Tom York? Because this sounds like a lyric and a piano song. So the songwriter has done both, in my opinion.
This is what you get when you mess with
The bridge section, we've got a complete change of scenery in this. That bass line just crawling around there. This volume swell of the synth sounding like the, you know, the siren of a cop car. Bringing us back into reality. Song was like a hazy dream. Quite harsh there at the height of that audacity. Ooh, I don't think much to that. It was nice to hear in a way, but it was also quite a harsh sound, that. So I don't have too much to comment on regarding that song. It went what? Verse, chorus, bridge, and out, really. Sort of extended this modulated, repetitive phrase near about the end. I've lost myself, then we got a little outro. It was a good song. It's not my favourite song on the record, though. It's not my favourite song. I've heard a couple of tunes which I've preferred, but this so far has been the fan favourite as far as the numerics show. So let's move on to the next tune. I've not heard this one. Maybe a bridge of a song. It's only short, so let's have a look what the deal is. We might throw two in one.
Amelia Clark here, trying out this new Clinique foundation.
Hey Amelia.
This is a foundation.
Look at that flawless skin right there. The girls in the laboratory doing what they do best. Creating some incredible clinical serum.
Fitter, happier.
Alright, yo. Check 1 2. Des at King of the Pit TV signing in once again. This one's entitled Fitter, Happier. We're listening to OK Computer, the full record. If this is short, so if this is a bridge section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flow it in with Electioneering, which is the song that follows, okay? So far we've been enjoying this record quite a bit. Let's get straight into it.
Productive, comfortable. No.
Yo, this is the same automated voice in that Benny, is it Benny Benassi? Have you heard Satisfaction? I don't know if most Radioheads will listen to this tune, but I recommend you go on YouTube, yeah, if you're already on it. I'm sure you are. Click the search box and do Benny Benassi, Satisfaction. Not only is it a tune, but just check out that music video, yeah? Let's get straight into it.
Drinking too much. Regular exercise at the gym. 3 days a week. Getting on better with your associate employee contemporaries. At ease. Eating well. No more microwave dinners and saturated fats. A patient better driver. A safer car. Baby smiling in backseat. Sleeping well. No bad dreams. No paranoia.
The foundation of a healthy and happy life right now.
For all animals, never watching spiders done.
Of course, you got some morbid piano in the background.
Friends. Enjoy a drink now and then. Will frequently check credit at Moral, Bank, Rolling Wall. Favors for favors. Fond but not in love. Charities
this funeral-esque synth just seeping in there.
orders. On Sundays reading Road Supermarket. No no killing moths or putting boiling water on the hands. Car wash, also on Sundays. No longer afraid of the dark or midday shadows, nothing so ridiculously teenage and desperate, nothing so childish. At a better pace, slower and more calculated. No chance of escape. Now self-employed, concerned, but powerless. An empowered and informed member of society. Pragmatism, not idealism. Will not cry in public. Less chance of illness. Tires that grip in the wet. Shot of baby strapped in backseat. A good memory. Still cries at a good film. Still kisses with saliva. No longer empty and frantic. Like a cat. Tied to a stick. That's driven into frozen winter shit. The ability to laugh at weakness. Calm. Fitter. Healthier.
The ability to laugh at weakness.
More productive. A pig. In a cage. On antibiotics.
No comment, no comment. I'd have to have a look into the deeper lyric of that. You know, whether you consider it a lyric or not. Let's move on to the next track. Let's see what we've got going on. Probably an advertisement right about now from
Your work can feel
Monday.com.
much smoother with Monday.com
They
Work
need to start
OS.
paying me. This
This
Monday.com.
smooth.
This one's entitled Electioneering People. Not a fan favourite at one point. Well, 1 million views. That guitar there's that a 12 string. Wow. Sounds almost like a sitar. We're grooving. Oh! Rock and roll. This is a straight rock and roll record, isn't it, really? Are we going to jump back into the groove after this? Are we? Thought so. Guitar solo. Very guitar driven, this record. This is a guitarist's wet dream, this entire record. We've got the sweet and the sour, we've got the heavy distorted rock riffs, and then we've got the clean broken guitars, clean, you know, acoustic broken chords and so on and so forth. This is brilliant. So I'm going to sign out and move on to the next set of tunes, which will finalize our listening to OK Computer. So I'm going to say one love, people. Us now, people. We're jamming out. We're listening to the entire OK Computer record. So we're going to get straight back in. This one's entitled Climbing Up the Walls. We're 9 tracks in. At There's Rocksteady on Instagram. Let's jump straight in, people. Climbing Up the Walls. Very tinny snare, that, innit? It's groovy though. The drums have been groovy since start to finish on this record. Who is the drummer? Shout out to the Radiohead heads. Oh! We just started to delve into a little bit of movement. As we're progressing through this tune, extra little bits are just building and building and building. Nice little bit of movement there when we came into the, you know, second verse, would you call it? I think the bass line just started moving it along a little more. Just pushing it along. You know what that sounded like. That guitar sounded like an oncoming train. That was powerful. On a side note, do you know what's good branding? Ed Sheeran, yeah? Sounds a bit random, yeah? But Ed Sheeran's albums are mathematical symbols, right? And one of them is entitled Multiply. I just had to Google it quick to see what the colour scheme was. It's green, the Multiply album cover, not blue. But something as simple as this cross makes me think of that Ed Sheeran record. That's good branding. He does have a blue album, which is a different colour. I'm trying to find which one it is. Divide is the blue one. An electronic outro, as we have been having on numerous songs in this record. I could have done without. I don't need a slow electronic fade out personally on this track.
Smart.
So we're moving on to the next number, which is entitled No Surprises. Wow, a lot of views on this one, so this should be a good tune, this. That last one had a good groove. I wasn't too fond of it in comparison relative to the other tunes, but it was a good number. So I'm going to go check my bath because I've got it running, people, and I'm going to be back with No Surprise. Now, bless, now we're falling back into Radiohead's OK Computer record, where on the final run now we're going to listen to all these tunes back to back. This is No Surprises, track 10. It's been an experience so far. This one's got 5.1 million views, so we're judging on the view count relative to the other songs to see the fan favourites and so forth, and this one must be a good tune. Alright, so let's go straight into it. 3 minutes 49, a good track length in my opinion. Let's see what's going on. A lullaby-esque guitar. I think I've heard this tune somewhere before, maybe on an advert or in a movie. Oh wow, I'd love to write a sound like this. This is brilliant. Oh wow. I personally believe that there is a correlation between being childlike, childish, and being a creative. I think it's a very childish thing to create music and to create art of any sorts, alright? Because as we grow older and we have to be forced upon dealing with endless responsibilities we never used to as a child, we sort of lose this childlike essence and this creativity. We don't have the time, or maybe we just simply don't have the time to even consider that because we're too busy caught up within the muddle of, you know, adult life. This song to me is something which I really like, and that is, it pertains to like almost a lullaby at the start, and then when the glockenspiel comes in, if that's what it is, just creates this you know, this youthful baby-like admiration of the being in a cot, and what would you call it? It's like a mobile, I think it's called, or a mobile or something. Just spinning around in that awe and wonder of the world. It's almost like, you know, obviously First Day of My Life by Bright Eyes was written through the eyes of a young newborn, but the actual instrumental also created that feel and that environment, and that's what I'm getting from this song. Really good, really good. Something I appreciate a lot in music. Something I like to recreate, or attempt to recreate as a musician. endless repetition of the hook there to really ensure you know the name of the song. That's good songwriting. Great movement as always. Each one of these songs have a great movement as the song develops. They don't have to switch from section to section. They can withhold the same melody and the same chord progression, but there's always a development through some slight way or another to keep you interested and to keep the music moving onwards. Really good. We call that a turnaround right after the chorus, before we start to build up again to the next chorus.
This is my final fate, my final bellyache with alarms and no surprises, no alarms and no surprises, no alarms and no surprises, please.
Here we go. The bridge section after the second chorus.
Such a pretty house and such a pretty garden, no surprises, no surprises,
Wow. Little party at the end there with that secondary vocal, the backing vocal. That was textbook songwriting. That was really good. Very youthful, very childlike in essence, and I appreciate that. That was a great song. That was a great song. That was No Surprises by Radiohead. So we went intro, verse, chorus, a little bit of a turnaround verse into the next chorus, then we had a bridge into the last chorus, and on that last chorus we invited everyone to the party. We added another vocal and we just bumped it up a little bit, and then obviously we had a slight outro at the end. That was textbook songwriting. That was really good. Let's move on to the next tune, which is entitled Lucky. I'm surprised there was no advertisement. There's King of the Pit TV. The Instagram is at Des Rocksteady. We're listening to Radiohead's OK Computer, the entire record. Never heard it before. Let's go straight into this tune. This one is entitled Lucky. The most subtle dynamic here. Are we expecting a fade in? Very quiet. A little bit country, this rhythm.
This time I feel my luck could change. Kill me, Sarah, kill me again. 'Cause it's gonna be a glorious day.
God damn.
Pull me out of crash. Pull me
Sounds like a guitar tone I'd hear from Porcupine Tree. Oh, beautiful cadence there. Here we go. Yo, do you know what that guitar and the chord that's been played sounds like? It sounds like, is it Great Gig in the Sky by Pink Floyd? Is it Great Gig in the Sky I'm thinking of? No, it's breathe. Breathe. Breathe in the air. Sounds like Breathe, Pink Floyd. Don't you think? In this band and in this record so far, I've heard Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin and Oasis. Might not be direct influences to the band, but that's what I've heard so far. So I've heard Jimmy Page, John Bonham, Noel Gallagher, Roger Waters, David Gilmour. And I've heard that, who is it? Who did Handbags and Glad Rags? Rod Stewart, a little bit of that as well. Really like that cadence. Yeah, that guitar tone there reminds me of Porcupine Tree, that lead guitar. A tune called Russia on Ice. So I'm just going to shoot off one here and say, if you're watching this and you are a radio fan and you do like the miserable aspect of it, the melancholy misery, check out the tune Russia on Ice by Porcupine Tree. That is one of the most just miserable songs of all time. Oh! Decent. A little bit of a country feel to the rhythm we had in that song. I think I said everything I needed to whilst we were listening to that one. Was it my favourite? Not necessarily. Was it a good song? Yes, definitely. So let's move on to the last track of the record. This one's entitled The Tourist.
Is HelloFresh worth the price? Absolutely. In the beginning, I was doubtful too.
Right. Des at King of the Pit TV signing in for the last time today. We're listening to OK Computer from start to finish. We're at the end of our journey. It's been a good one. This one's entitled The Tourist. 5 minutes 26 seconds long. Let's see how they finish off this record. Let's go, people.
Goodbye.
Does anybody know where this scene is from and what it represents on the album artwork? This particular road. It must have some significance, right? That guitar sounds like a violin. They asked me where I'm going at 1,000 feet per second. Here's the outro to the record. OK Computer. The lead guitars are always tasteful, there's no need to show off, there's no virtuoso-esque playing. The guitars are always very powerful, and well, the lead guitars are always very powerful, know exactly what they're doing and where they're going. And that's really nice. They always sound very reckless as well, like very in your face and just beat, and the string is just twanged to Kingdom Come. That's tasty, the high register there. Very organic sounding drums. Makes a change from the first tune where I thought the drums were primarily going to be sampled. Right, that was it, that was the record. So I've just listened to the entire record back to front to back. That was Radiohead, OK Computer. If you've just signed in at the Tourist, you know, I didn't think that was anywhere near the best tune on the record. If anything, I would have given them a chance to replace that with another tune. It wasn't my favourite, but overall, this Computer record has been absolutely brilliant. Really enjoyed it. Very guitar driven. I am a guitarist myself, so it was nice to hear the guitars, even though driving the record, were never over complex, never over complicated. We had two styles. We had the riffing and we had the broken chords. This band likes a good broken chord on a clean guitar. That was the most part as far as the instrumental went. The drummer was grooving throughout the entire record. There was a very good groove when it came to the drums. Nothing too fancy, nothing overcomplicated. Just a very cohesive band situation. They did what they did with the ideas they had, and they made it just sound really tight and perfect. You know what I mean? There was no need to be fancy, and that was what I really liked about this record. Not too far-fetched with the ideas like they were on Kid A, which is the other record I listened to prior to this. Nothing too experimental. The most experimental you got kind of was just the slight electronic sections you may have had during the outros of some of the songs. There was only one filler track, which led into another track. And as far as the songs go in general, there wasn't necessarily any filler whatsoever. Each tune was decent and held its own, had its own, substance to engage with me, the listener. So that was pretty good. The songwriting was fantastic. These lot definitely know how to write a good song and know how to structure it so it's consumed simply and it's nothing disjointed. That's really good. That's really good, because with these like cult following bands, they tend to be niche and have this sort of eccentric style of doing things. This band has kept it artistic without having to stray too far from the norm. So people like me who enjoys a 4/4 rhythm and enjoys radio music and so on and so forth can enjoy what I'm hearing. You know what I mean? Without thinking, bloody hell, it's hard to follow, and yeah, I appreciate it. But there was no buts with this record. Great band music, pulled off the artistry really well, held that childlike creative aspect without, being too childish or being too mature about things. Really good. So I'm going to sign out. If you want me to check out another Radiohead record, leave it down in the comments. Anything in particular you want me to check out, please leave it down in the comments. I'm signing out, people. That was Des at King of the Pit TV. Follow me on Instagram. That's at Des Rocksteady. One love, people.